Me, Renee, I'm back. Huh, this lightning isn't lightning. It's like, isn't that bad? Okay, so that's cool. Wait until it's almost gone, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so this video is going to be me talking about my most disappointed reads of 2019. This list includes both books that came out in 2019, yep, and books that were from earlier years. Luckily, actually, 2019 wasn't that bad of a book for me. Bad of a year for me, reading wise. I read lots of great books. I reread some books, so of course that was a joy. But yeah, there were some poops along the way. And also, since this is a list of disappointing reads, and I'm not, well, I can't say stupid. I'm not one of those who keep books that I don't like or that I have no intention of rereading. So if I read a book, hate it or dislike it, I give it to charity or give it away. So usually I don't own books I don't like. So the only exception is this one, because I'm been on the fence about this one, but decided recently I'm gonna give it away. So yeah, but for this list I don't have books to show, so I'm just gonna link them all in a doobly-doo, and it's not a long list. There's some books. There's some books here. Okay. So yeah, let's just start with Jewel Devious. It came out I think 2-3 years ago. It didn't come out last year, but it didn't come out that long ago. It's a mystery, contemporary mystery, set in a boarding school, and also by Maureen Johnson. I've read lots of Maureen Johnson books, so that wasn't like the problem for me. I really liked Maureen Johnson. For me, yeah, this was like a bit of a letdown. Like, I normally like Maureen Johnson books. This one, I didn't. Well, a letdown. It's more like a disappointment. Like, I didn't hate it. That's why I was on the fence about giving away or not. But like, I suppose I had very high expectations for this one, and even though I liked it, I felt like resolved so few plot lines. Yeah, I know it's the first in a series, but like one book starts questioning stuff. I usually like expect it to give some answers and then at the end give new questions. I felt like this book just asked questions and questions and questions, and you never really got any answers. Or like if you got answers, like okay, that's how it happened. You don't really believe them, or you don't really like them. You're not satisfied with them. I suppose I might like this more like in hindsight if I read the second and third book. But this one, honestly, disappointed me so much. I don't really have that much motivation to read the second and third book. I don't. So yeah, this one truly disappointed me. Going to charity. And then, next one is The Rules of Magic by Alex Hoffman. I don't have a book of it. Well, partly because it was a library book, partly because if I owned it, I would have given away. I was not impressed. Sorry. It's actually the prequel to Practical Magic. You know, the book that the movie Practical Magic was based off. Actually, I saw the movie first and then read the book second. Like, I read the book, I think 2 years ago. I didn't like that book that much either. But I thought, maybe this book is good. Well, I actually read it for a book circle. I had another book planned, and then the book got switched out. So yeah, I read the rules. Yeah, The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. Yeah, the magic in this one is more or less non-existent. It's there, but it's not there much. So like the magic part of it is like, yeah, that's a downer. I like magic, and when you're promised magic in the title and it's not really there, don't really like that. It was very character based, and when you don't really like the character that much, yeah, yeah, I was hugely disappointed. Hugely. Well, not hugely because I didn't like the first book, but I didn't like it. Did not like it. Will not read more Alice Hoffman books. Definitely. This is definitely one for the books. For like the movie's better than the book. Yes, it is. For me, at least. Next on the list, we have Timeless by Alexander Monir. It came out in 2010, 11, I think. Many, many years ago. Well, years ago. Not many, many years ago, but years ago. I've had it on my radar for a long time. A lot, obviously, but I had it on my radar for a long time. I think I heard about it when it came out. So yeah, I've been thinking about it for a long time. It's a time travel book. Oh, sorry. It's a time travel book. So the concept of it is that a girl in our time, or 2010, 2011, I think it is, meets, no, she's like in a room and then suddenly she's like in the past. So it's more like a time slip than a time travel. It's not like she uses, it's not like in Outlander where she goes to a stone and touches the stone and stuff happens. Or it's not like in what's it called again? Back to the Future, where you have a time machine. In Timeless, it's a time slip. She goes to a room and suddenly the room changes and she's in the past. I liked the beginning of it. I liked the idea of it. I liked the start of it. And then it just kind of fizzled out, I'd say. I mean, the back of it says like this like time is like a whole time organization and like secret society and stuff. You didn't really see that much of it. You saw like you saw hints of it, but you mainly didn't really see it. Mainly it was like a love story, but it wasn't a happily ever after. Sorry, spoiler. But yeah, it wasn't a happily ever after with it either. So yeah, yeah, hugely disappointed in this one. Did not like it. I suppose yeah, here I could read the second book, and then that makes the first book very good. But like series where the first book or like the first few books are made better in hindsight because of the sequels book. Yeah. I suppose like some books are made great, turn from good to great because of the sequels. But if a book is bad on its own, and then the sequel and third and fourth book is like gives the first one another context, I don't care. It has to be good in itself. It has to. So yeah. Boo. Moving on. We have Enchanted. I've written down Enchanted. I haven't written down the author. I'm gonna check out who the author is here. I must have been crazy when I wrote that down because I just went to Goodreads. Didn't find any book I read last year that was named Enchanted. So yeah, I'm just gonna unroll that one. And then yeah, next book on my list here, Opposite of Always. It's a book about time travel. Well, time travel-ish. It's a book about what's the word again? Groundhog Day. The idea is like Groundhog Day. It's not like you experience the same. The characters simply experience the same day over and over, but like he experienced the same time, and then to a certain point, the time rewinds. Yeah, time rewinds itself, and then it goes back to that state in the past. So it's always like half a year that it goes back. It's just always trying to change stuff and stuff. I enjoy this. I didn't love it. And I had high expectations for it. Like all the reviews are like, it's so great, the best of the year, so good, so amazing. So I read with high hopes. I suppose yeah, when you go into something with high hopes, the likelihood of this being disappointed, it is there. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy it that much. So yeah. Then you have The False Prince by Jennifer A. Nielsen. This one has been on my radar for a few years. It's been described as middle grade high fantasy for Hunger Games fans. I didn't like Hunger Games, but I liked the concept of this one. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna read you. And then last year, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna read you now. I bought it, read it. I liked the aspect of it, but the concept of it, but I thought, for my taste, it was too much violence. Like, there's a lot of violence in it. I don't really like violence that much. I suppose that's why we have the comparison to Hunger Games. Yeah, I should start to really think about what I read. Like, if something is compared to something I didn't love, why do you read other stuff? I don't know. But yeah, The False Prince. It's the first in the series, so I suppose the other books can be better. But yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Disappointed me. Then, sorry. Next we have Anna Burning by author Shannon Hale. Yeah, Shannon Hale. I've read other Shannon Hale books, and Anna Burning is a second in the Goose Girl quartets, the Goose Girl universe books. I liked the Goose Girl somewhat. Anna Burning, it was, for me, I would say, kind of slower than Goose Girl, and the character wasn't that interesting. I felt them kind of, the story was kind of predictable, and I just ended up skimming most of it. Didn't like it that much, so yeah, disappointed me. I have the third book in that series because I bought like a mine up, or like I went to a charity store where you got like several books in like for one price. So I have four of her books. So yeah, I've now read two of them. Different experiences with both of them. So the third book, am I gonna read it or not? I'm not sure. Like, the fourth book is the book I've already read. I really enjoy, Princess Academy. So yeah, I'm not sure about that one, but yeah. Then we have Franklin Love. Franklin Love by Frank. Yeah, Frank Moon. Is he called Frank? David Yoon. Sorry, David Yoon. The husband of Nicola Yoon. It's his debut book. The debut debut book. It's his first book. Pronunciation, you know. I liked it. Like, a lot of people talked about this because it came up this year. It's about Korean Americans who you want to read because diversity aspects and stuff, and it has a fun romance, fake dating trope. But I don't know. I liked it, and then the start of this book was good, and then it took like a serious turn with like stuff went like, oh, it's going from light and fun and lighthearted to like, okay, now seriously stuff is going on. And I kind of felt like it was two books mashed into one. I didn't really feel like it. I didn't really feel like it's worked that much. Really, I felt like it was forced. I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't really done that well for me, for my taste, really. And yeah, in the end, didn't like it that much. Disappointment. And that's the end of my list here. But then, while checking out Goodreads, I remember one book actually. So I suppose not everyone knows about this series. People might, but like, since I talk mainly about fantasy and YA, my audience might not know about this. But there's an author called sorry, there's an author called Lucinda Riley. She's an adult author, writes for adults. Is herself adult. Well, most authors are adults, but yeah. She writes historical books. Well, mostly historical, and then like it's like two timelines, one in the past and one in the present. She writes both standalone and a series, and she's lately mainly known for her series, which is called The Seven Sisters, about seven adoptive sisters and their biological families past. So it's one set in Australia, one set in Brazil, and it's all set in different places around the world, the globe. So that's aspect is cool of it. Now I've read the first two books in that series. Yeah, and just so you know, it's a companion series. You don't have to read them all, but you can if you like. So the first book is set in Brazil and Switzerland. The first book I found good. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't awful. But I don't know. It was fine. It was a book. I didn't have that much feelings around it really. Then I tried to, so I thought like I might read the rest, might not. And then I decided to read the second book because, well, two things really. Because I want to give another try to the author, to the series mostly. Like the Salmos, I might try those, I suppose. But I think what I most have against this author is the writing style, not the plot in itself. So reading anything by ear. Probably not something that I'm going to do. But yeah, I want to read because I want to give another chance to the author. But I also want to read this book because it takes place in Norway. I've heard that it took place in Lofoten, which didn't really, but it did. Like it takes place in Bergen and Oslo, so that was fun. You get to meet Edvard Grieg, and you get to meet that type of society, high class musical community, I suppose. So that aspect was fun, but mostly, yeah, not that good. Like, okay, guys, just like what do you need to make a good book? You need one engaging and relatable characters. Two, settings that are interesting and well developed and well fleshed out, well described. Three, a plot that's interesting. Either it's unpredictable or it's predictable, but it's done in a very good way that you still want to read on. Yeah. This book has neither of those. Neither of them. Like, the characters act semi-interesting, but they make so many decisions that contradict something that I did earlier. Maybe that's the author that didn't proofread enough. I'm not sure. The settings are not really there. I felt like they could be sent any other places. Really, you don't really describe that much the streets and the setting that much. Really, like for most of the time, the characters just inside rooms, so the settings aren't that important. The characters bland, 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 not good. And what baffles me, what flabbergasts me most of all, is that this series is a bestseller. People are like, when is the next book coming out? Like, I work in a bookstore, so I know like what's bestsellers and what's talked about. This book is a best-selling series. People always want to get them to. People want to get them in the library. Like, do we have the next book? Do you have the next book? So the libraries has waiting lists for this series. The bookstore has waiting lists. Like, you can pre-order them and like, oh, when is it coming? When's it coming? But it's so bland. I don't understand the appeal at all. Like, for Hunger Games, I didn't enjoy it very much, but I understand why people like it. Like, I see the aspects of why I would enjoy it. But this series, it has nothing. Nothing. I mean, I suppose you can say people like historical books, people like romance because it's historical romance mostly. But like, there's tons of books that do it better, much better. I don't understand. And people that do this, and people like read this series, and most people in their 40s, maybe 50s, 60s, and they're also like they always want to. They come back to the store to like, I've read all the Cinderella books. Do you have other similar books? So people read a lot. So like, I could understand reading this series, like being interested in this series, if you read like one book every 10 years, so if it's your first book that you finished, I could understand it because it's not awful. But when you read that much, normally when you read a lot, it means that your reading taste develops, your reading style develops. You get like usually people who read a lot, they have different tastes and different bookshelves. Like they have content one decade to the next. Maybe like 2 years ago I would not touch the book. Now we'll touch it. But for some people who read so much and read all the books during the whole year, and they every year they get back like, I don't understand. It's a mystery. I don't understand it. So weird. So yeah, that was just me ranting a bit about that series. It's just weird. It just flabbergasts me. And yeah. So, if you have any books you're disappointed with from last year, or if you just want to rant in general about books that you don't understand the appeal of, comment in the video. Comment in the comments. In the doobly doesn't really work. But yeah. Renee out.